Welcome to Blowing Solutions Wide Open, where we're talking about all things spiritual, as well as creating new systems in the area of healthcare, finance, government, education, new environmental practices, and anything that helps the planet or helps humanity. My name is Addie, and I am about to tackle a subject that I am completely intimidated about. I got to be honest with you. This is something that I just started learning, I don't know, maybe a few months ago, and it's a huge subject. Um, all I can say is that it's going to take some time for you to understand. It took me 2 months at least when I started learning, excuse me, to even be able to like connect the dots at all. And I'm still very new and I'm still, taking it very slowly because I'm not an intellect. I don't like to read. I was terrible in school. I hate complicated things. So this is all like pushing me in areas that I'm not strong and don't enjoy. So the fact that I'm talking about this and pushing through this should tell you how important I think this is. I believe this subject that I'm about ready to expose to you is like could be the make or break for humanity pulling out of what we're living in. These are crimes against humanity to the umpth degree. This is disgusting. And you may not understand that at first, but as you start learning more and more about it, it's infuriating and it has to do with technology. So we all know about our cell phones and our TVs and how they listen to us and, pick up on our thoughts and all we've all seen that, right? Old news, whatever. What you may not realize is that there's technology employed everywhere, all over the planet. It's in our soil, it's in our water, it's in our streetlights, it's in our makeups, our foods, our lotions, anywhere they can put nanotechnology, it is. The scariest or the most concerning one to me is it's in our air molecules, which means nothing on the planet is exempt from this, okay? It's called nanotechnology. What the function of nanotechnology is that it allows those who are operating technologies, like so computer engineers, those dark souls running the planet, anybody that's got access to this technology, it allows the technology to hook into whatever nanotechnology is in. So if you drink water and you eat food, you've got nanotechnology in your body. We probably all do. Okay. So they can hook into your physicality. They can hook into your biologics. They can hook into your anatomy. Okay. I questioned at first, like, why? What's the point of this? It's obvious they're monitoring, but I've thought to myself, like, I'm not that interesting. Like, what do you want to know? Stupid. Um, they're not just monitoring. I mean, they are monitoring, but they are doing a lot more than just monitoring us. They are messing with our everything. They're messing with our neurons. They're nudging our neurons. They are, augmenting people. They're siphoning empathy from people. They are stealing DNA. This is all in public documents. I know a lot of you might think, oh, this is woo-woo. That's crazy. They could never do that. Believe what you want, but it's written in public documents. Again, those running the planet, they have technology beyond anything we can imagine. They're always possibly hundreds of years ahead of us with technology. So by the time we learn about something, they've already had it employed and tested for years. Okay. And so, yes, they can do this stuff, and they do. And, I started to question, like, why though? Like, why do they need to mess with our anatomy and monitor and all these things? Like, what's the point? Well, I won't get into the whole story at this point in time, but bottom line, they want a compliant society. And, as we progress, the natural evolution of human beings is to come more and more and more back to their soul. And so as we come more and more back to our soul, we get less and less compliant because we're not supposed to be like doing what other people say and living slavery lives. That's stupid. The soul is sovereign. The soul is free. And so those running everything, they don't want that. They're very selfish people. or whatever they are, and they want a society of slaves. And so through the technology, they have been augmenting humans and really, messing with things. And I truly believe they've taken people off the planet through this technology. Um, the one that makes me the maddest is our whole healthcare system is based on this technology. And they keep rolling out upgrades and making it more and more intrusive and messing with people more and more. Um, you know, there's the whole like healthcare now where they're telling you to put on your wearables, right? Okay, those those wearables are very much part of this whole thing. They monitor all our vitals and all these things, and they're under our skin 24/7 as long as we have those things on. And they like to give us this thing around, oh, this is so good for you. We can help you. We can administer medication through the wireless network, blah, blah, blah. And it's because we love you. And when in fact, no, this stuff literally creates inflammation. And there's a lot of like bad intention around this. Another thing that's happening, and I've read this in public documents for sure, is that they are messing with our biofield. So if you don't know what the biofield is, a lot of people used to explain it as the aura. I think the aura was a little bit of a narrative to confuse people, like, so they thought that their energy was really woo-woo, when in fact, our energy is literally the electricity that naturally comes off our body. And so, every living creature on the planet has a biofield, and it's a physical body part. It's our electricity and it's ours. And they've been siphoning that like crazy, connecting all of our electricity to the cloud, running Wi-Fi off our electricity. This is really bad for us. And there, the FDA, I don't know how many years ago it was, but the FDA waived our consent on stuff like this. So they don't even have to ask our permission. They just do it through technology. And, there's a lot of gaslighting in the industries, especially the medical industry, telling people that they're crazy when they talk about this, when they talk about like the hearing, certain things, they're being talked to, they're hearing high pitched whatever noises. Um, you know, I I don't care how much of an addict you are. I don't care. I don't care. Like maybe there's something going on mental, but I'm starting to feel like more of it's technology than anything else. And people are being gaslit and called crazy, and I'm effing sick of it. I'm really tired of it because that's not what's happening for most people. What's happening is that we're being massively manipulated through technology. And the hard thing about this is that you can start to figure this out in the documentation that's all over the planet. However, for somebody like me, I am just not smart in that way. I'm not a brainy person. And so it's really hard to understand. And I'm grateful that there are some people, not many, but there are some people who are talking about this and trying to help interpret these documents for people. I'll be revealing a little more about like who I listen to when it comes to this later on down the road, but it's not an easy subject to get across. If you're confused, I don't blame you at all. If you don't exactly know what I'm talking about, I'm right there with you. Like I don't know if I said this before or not, but it took me 2 months to start to connect the dots on any of this. The only reason why I kept listening to somebody online talk about this is that I could feel what she was talking about. I could feel there was something to what she was saying. And the other reason why I kept listening is because I have suffered horribly physically, like massive suffering with a long list of symptoms that have almost taken me off the planet many times. Nobody can figure it out. They're weird symptoms, they're humiliating symptoms. And I'm so sick of suffering that, I've known instinctively there's something else to this. It's not, yes, I'm allergic to a lot of poisonous stuff. I can tell, but that's not what's going on entirely. Like I knew there was something more to it. And so as I've learned more and more about this technology, I'm like, yes, this kind of checks out. This kind of feels like what I'm going through. And if what I've gone through is any indication about what they can do through technology to us, holy cow, I will spend my whole life educating people on this, even though this is very hard for me to learn because it is sick and disgusting what they can do with our biofields and with our energy. It's disgusting. It is a crime against humanity. And it goes much deeper than this video can even cover. But anyway, that's kind of like part of what I wanted to talk about today is a very complex subject. Please try to stay with me or somebody that can kind of, talk to you about this because this is really important for us to start understanding because the level of manipulation and augmentation happening will lead people down a really, really dark road if we don't start kind of getting a hold of our own biofield and our own energy because I don't think this technology is going away. I think our power lies in taking back our biofields and our energy and our electricity and redirecting away from this technology as much as possible. And there's some, techniques I've been hearing about and trying to learn. Everybody's different. So in regards to kind of reclaiming your sovereignty, your energy, your electricity, it's going to be different for you than anybody else. But the other thing I want to kind of leave you with is that I've decided that maybe I'll kind of talk about one term every video. There's a million terms to this information that I've never heard of that are, kind of important to learn about. So the first one I want to talk about is called the biodigital convergence. I looked this definition up on Google. I would not recommend the common search engines. They don't always tell the truth and they don't do a good job of talking about this, but I just don't have another search engine right now. So anyway, biodigital convergence is the merging and integration of biological systems such as living organisms and genetics with digital technologies, including data, AI, and networks. This data blurs the boundaries between nature and technology. So the biodigital convergence is what we're under with this technology. It's been going on for a long time, but they're really upping the ante now. They're really upgrading the technology. They're putting more and more of it everywhere. Our political system, this is what they're after. This is what they're doing. I don't want to get into that because I don't follow politics too much, but I do know that this is the bottom line of what they're actually really trying to do. It's not all the things you see on TV. As usual, you're just being lied to. The other thing I want to talk about real quick is that there's a lot of funny business with DNA and what they're doing with technology. I will be getting into that in other videos, but I just wanted to read the definition of DNA because I wasn't actually sure what the definition was. So DNA is a set of instructions that make you. These instructions tell your body how to create organs and tissues and how to function and what you should look like or what you look like. It uses its own language to write the story that your cells can read. It's also a carrier of genetic information. So DNA is very important. I'm getting mad because this is one of the dirtiest things they're doing to us around technology is they're doing some dirty stuff with DNA. And so that'll be in videos to come. Let me know if you know anything about this in the comments. There is so much more. And I hope this was not boring to you. I know it's a little boring to me, but so, so important because we're souls. We deserve to be sovereign, and it's kind of interesting that this is actually the new warfare. This is what they actually are doing to enslave humanity. And I'm not having any of it. So if you want to come on here and talk about spirituality or you have ideas for creating new systems on the planet, I'd love to hear about it. If you have things to say about this particular subject, bring it on. I'm still very much a student. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I don't want to hear about, how this is all garbage uh, because you're going to get proven wrong because it's all over the place in, documents. But there's a lot more to come. And email me at blowingsolutionswideopen@gmail.com if you want to come on. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. Take care.